Evelyn to Philip, V-mail dated October 29th, 1944. Dearest sweetheart, it's exactly 1 month to Adele's second birthday, and I guess we'll have to wait for her third one to celebrate it all together. Last night when I finished writing to you, I proceeded to write to Phil, Eddie Strongen, and Milt. Now I'm completely caught up on my correspondence with the exception of one letter that I must write to Mickey Brown. It's a great feeling when you're all caught up, and I only hope I stay that way for a while. When I finished writing all the letters, I knitted on Diana's sweater for a while and then took myself upstairs to shower and set my hair. I got to bed at 11:15 and had a very restless night. Yesterday and today were very windy, and all night long a northeasterly wind howled away. All the doors and windows banged, and since it was almost impossible for me to sleep, I laid wide awake and thought of you, sweet. Many sweet memories crowded my thoughts, and I wished very much that you were back home with me so that we could make some more. There'll come a day. I was up bright and early, though I would have preferred to sleep, but Adele had other ideas. And after finishing with my duties about the house, I bundled Adele up and walked over to Ann's, where I stayed for about an hour. She dressed Richie, who was a regular doll, and we sat on the porch and tried to chat. I say tried, for the kids got to hitting each other and throwing each other down, and I thought it best to take my leave, which I did. From there I walked over to 7th Street and paid the Meadoways a long visit. They were almost shocked to see me walk in. Sylvia's little boy is a regular demon, and though he'll be 3 years old in December, he still wets his pants. Syl has dropped some 25 odd pounds and hasn't been feeling well. Mrs. N looks wonderful, in spite of all her troubles. Adele had a great time riding Ellis's rocking horse and little station wagon. I left the Meadoways at 12 and started home to prepare Adele's lunch. After lunch, I put her to bed, cleaned the living room and dining room, and had some lunch myself. Now I'm typing this, and since I'm almost finished and feel rather tired, I'm going right upstairs to nap. I haven't had any recreation for weeks, and I hope to take in a movie tonight, if Adele will go to sleep early. That brings me right up to the minute, baby, and so, until tomorrow, when I shall write once more, darn it, wish I could say see you tomorrow, I say, I adore you, my darling husband. Pucker up, sweet, 'cause I comes with a great big hug and kiss. Let's do it all over again, and again, and again. Gee, I'm in the mood for love. Ev. Philip to Evelyn, 29 October 1944. Dearest Ev, just received 2 letters. They were yours of 18 October with snapshots enclosed and dots of 16th October. I had just finished writing to Milt and Sid at last when the mail came in. It has been a queer kind of day. One moment the sun is shining brightly in a cloudless sky, and the next thing you know, it is raining like hell from the dark storm clouds that weren't there a minute ago. Very confusing, but not amusing. Haven't made up my mind whether I'll go into town tonight or not. I think I will if the weather clears, but I definitely won't if it does not. The snapshots are very nice, sweet. You look better, much better than you did in the last set of pictures you sent. The pumpkin looks good enough to eat, and very large for her age. Or am I nuts? Truly, honey, she is as big as any 3-year-old I ever saw. Oh yes, you can tell her from me that Daddy doesn't acknowledge any left-handed salutes, so she better learn how to use her right arm. Which reminds me, does she still show that tendency to left-handedness? The picture would seem to indicate as much. That sport coat you are wearing is neat as a pin, baby, and most attractive. I'd love to hug you, coat and all. Can't for the life of me understand why you haven't had mail from me for so long. I hope you get 5 or 6 at a page 2 time, when they finally do come through, Chippy. That ought to keep you happy for a day or two, huh? I half suspect that your innocent chatter about that $18 bike for Adele to be had at your place is in the nature of a hint, no? I wish, darling, that I could take that hint, but I must confess that I'm not only completely broke, but in debt as well. I realize that you won't take very kindly to this bit of information, but I'd rather you bawled me out for that rather than have you think, even for a moment, that I am so thick that I can't recognize a hint when I see it, or so ungenerous that I'd fail to send you the money for the bike if I had it. You must know how sorry I am that I can't oblige you in this instant, honey. Forgive me if you can. Adele seems to be making quite a to-do over my socks. As for Daddy home, socks on, please make her understand that it isn't for any lack of willingness on Daddy's part that he is unable to oblige her just yet. And to answer your own query, what do you say, Daddy? I say this. I want to, honey, desperately, but I can't. So what can a guy do, eh? Your reference to the pumpkin as my one and only daughter makes me wonder if she would still be that if I hadn't been away from you for so long, honey. Or do you have some very definite ideas on the subject? Yes, I know. Just forget I mentioned it. Well, gee whiz, ain't a guy allowed to wonder anymore without you getting all riled up about it? Now stop right page 3 there, dear, because if you get me real good and mad, I'm just liable to do something that you will be sorry for. Know what I mean? Gee, baby, I can't even tease you anymore without suffering for it. Just thinking about how happy I would be to be with you once again, and not knowing when it will be makes me feel so bad I could yell. I adore you, my Evie. Give my love to my one and only daughter. Sounds almost like a reproach, doesn't it? My love to all. Devotedly, your Phil.